I said the boys are back in town. The boys.
Okay.
In New England, local communities were governed by Puritans congregations, with each congregation having communal land and meeting houses.
The Puritan tradition was a mix of freedom and repression, with communities having little distinction between religious and secular authority.
Arrow! The Toleration Act passed in 1689 and was initially resisted by the Puritans. However, by the 1730s, Anglican, Baptist, and Presbyterian congregations were, I don't know how to say this, established in many towns. As towns grew too large, residents flew and left to form new churches and towns elsewhere. Jolly good day. Hello, Governor. The back country. By 1750s, Pennsylvania's population was expanding into the Appalachian highlands, leading to settlers moving southwest through Maryland and into Virginia. These families began modestly farming, chip chip cheerio, and raising hogs, hunting, building log cabins. That's pretty cool stuff.
This marked the beginning of a great pioneer treks, with many holding no legal title to their lands. This led to raising fears and resentments, triggering violence and warfare in the 18th century. The backcountry settlers disdained for rank, the men dominating local communities as women as domestic workers.
Hello! Quick facts with the governor. Get this, African Americans, both freed and enslaved, made up 15% of the population. This is middle colonies, of course. New York, the most ethnically diverse population, grew up leaps and bounds in the 18th century. Let's go. During the 18th century, the region along the Delaware River grew more dramatically than any other in North America. The Society of Friends never became an established church.
Colonial officials appointed justices of peace among the leading local men. Farmers chose their own officials.
Communities were tied together by kinship and bands.
Land was sold in individual lots. Farmers were dispersed.
Come on.
The individual settlement of Pennsylvania would provide the basic model for American expansion.
The Chesapeake and the Lower South were tritial societies, specializing in rice, tobacco, and other commercial crops. These colonies were very rural. Much of the population growth of the region resulted from the forced migration of enslaved Africans, who by 1750 made up 40% of the population.
Bell to bell, no sell Dalton.
The poorest farmers lived in wooden shacks. More prosperous farm families lived with 2 or 3 slaves in houses that were smaller than the substantial homes of New England.
Hello, Governor. Hello. I'm a Puritan, ain't it? Traditional culture in the New World. In North American societies, family, kinship, the church, and local community were crucial in everyday life. Colonials maintain a conservative attitude towards culture, preserving an essentially medieval worldview. Oral cultures relied on oral storytelling and traditions, and life rhythms were regulated by sunlight and seasons. Community was more important than individuality, and most colonists continued the traditional European occupation of working the land. Farmers grew crops and raised livestock for their own needs or local border, while cities were centers of commerce for artisans and craftsmen. That's about all I have to say for the traditional culture in the New World.
Treat me like white tees. Don't get me.
19th century North American colonial societies shared unique perspectives due to their frontier heritage. European colonists in a continent with abundant and cheap land, leading to assumptions of forced labor and social hierarchy. Over half of immigrants
This is not a colonist!
arrived as indentured servants, earning an average of 50 pounds sterling over several years.
He knows what he's talking about.
The expectation of property and leadership led to rising demands for land and settlement. The violence and brutality directed against Indian tribes in essential aspects of colonial life. This attitude was present in both inclusive and exclusive societies.
That you love, like could be a dream, sweetheart.
Thank you for watching!